Hello, everyone. I am super excited that we're going to be talking today with Bobbie.
Hi. Yay.
Hey, everybody. This is Kim Jacobs from the Kim Jacobs Show, and we are here with Bobbie Kowalski, and I am super excited to have you here today, Bobbie. How are you today?
I'm good, Kim. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, and even better, getting to know you backstage for a few moments. Everyone, grab your virtual seats as quickly as possible. Let us know where you're visiting in from. Today's episode is going to be nothing short of amazing and riveting. So you definitely don't want to miss a moment of this episode. We're going to be talking about how to find that inner peace and how to just have a transformative experience in this thing called life. So grab your seats and we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. This episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, and we have with us the Reiki Master herself, as well as a death doula expert, and she also deals with tune forking practitioner. She's a tune forking practitioner. Now, those are some terms, if you're like me, you may not have known in detail what that's about, but we're going to learn all about it today. So before we cast any judgment, I'm talking to my own studio audience here, okay? I was like, what? Death doula? What are you talking about, girl? I was saying all kind of stuff to myself, right? Behind the scenes. But then I did some research and I was like, oh, this is kind of like me in a nutshell in some regards. So I'm so happy to be able to introduce Bobbie to you all today and for us to learn from a balanced perspective how to find some inner peace. Welcome, Bobbie, to the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you today?
Thank you, Kim. I'm doing really good, actually. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, actually, as well.
Thank you. Okay. So right from the beginning, are you going to tell people what the definition is of being a Reiki master, or should I read it? I would just be reading it from Google. So tell me.
Well, I can tell you what Reiki basically is. When somebody comes in for a Reiki session, it's a point where we're looking to help somebody become balanced. Somehow we can become unaligned during life. Stress does that to us. So what we do is when you come in to have a session, typically we lay on a nice massage table. Like if you're going into the spa to get a massage,
Yes.
you got your candles, your music, it's peaceful. We're going to bring you to a state of relaxation and peace. But while you're there, we're also bringing in a full balance energy that we're channeling from the practitioner to the patient, and they can feel it. You can either use hands off, you can hands on. It depends what people like. Some people really don't want to be touched. But the neat thing about it, I personally prefer, is I do it hands off a little bit because I can feel a heat that comes in from my hand. So if they're laying there sleeping or half out of it and your hands are moving above the person, you feel like a warm curling iron sensation going above their body. And honestly, if you took your hands right now and you held them like this, and if you just think about the space within your hands as you're sitting here, you can almost feel that there's something in between there that you cannot see, right?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yes. It's like you can just, it's like the invisible, but it's something.
Yes. There's absolutely more to you than what you're looking at. Because as a human, we're a spiritual being having a human experience.
That's right.
So intertwined in this body, you have a spiritual self, you have a mental self, you have an emotional self, and you have a physical self. So let's say something is thrown off in your mental life. You're frustrated at work every day. This takes on your emotions. Maybe you can't pay the bills this week. Maybe things become stressful. It's starting to tense up in your body, and you'll Go in for a massage. Your muscles are like this. It takes a practitioner to rub that muscle out to get you to form some relaxation in the massage. The same thing in your energetic body. We're doing the same thing. We're getting you to relax. We're getting you to calm. You're getting yourself to flow because you want to get back to that place of peace and that alignment that maybe you fell out of going through that Monday through Friday stress well, per se, you at work or a relationship issue. There's a lot of reasons that throw us out of that alignment that we should be in.
I'm glad how you describe that, because there are so many things that throw us out of alignment, and we can even recognize and know that we are out of alignment, but
Yes.
not know how to get back in alignment.
Yes.
And so you're saying these type of sessions help you kind of bring that peace back into
You're honing it back in, because once it's hit your physical body, you've been holding on to that for a little time. It's almost like, I call it the spirit world whispering. It's a whisper, whisper, whisper. And you may feel it as a little backache. And once that whisper comes, it gets a little louder and it gets a little louder, and you're not listening to it. Pretty soon, they're screaming at you. And once it screams, a lot of times it's going to come as a pretty severe illness. And if you hit that illness at this point, that gives the possibility for you to sit back, and now you can't do anything else. Maybe you're fighting something now that you can't handle, and what are you going to do? You're almost forced to go to that place where you do have to reconnect and maybe come to that place of peace, or maybe reach out to God, or whatever it is that you need to do to find your place and your meaning back in life again. So I always say, listen to those whispers, because they're just going to get louder as the day goes on.
And when you say whispers, and we don't have any scripted questions or anything, we're just having a conversation, everybody. But when you say whispers, Bobbie, what came to mind is, in my own life, it's like, Kim, go to bed. You're a little bit tired. Maybe you could do that tomorrow. Why do you have to try to force it now? Your body is speaking to you. That's me telling you, stop.
Well, it's like, for me, I really didn't recognize it. Like, to go back to the beginning of my whole story, where all this first started happening to me, was the death of my father. And I couldn't process it. Like, I got stuck in life. So when my father passed away, I got really, really stuck. But I'd always had the whisper in life of my gallbladder. My gallbladder always acted up just a little bit.
Okay.
And I had spent years of trying to deal with, be careful what you eat, be careful what you eat.
Right.
Then my dad passed away. Within 2 months of his passing, my gallbladder wasn't working. It had become completely inflamed. It was basically a mirror image of everything inside of me stuck. It stopped. Just like it stopped processing food, just like I, on the exterior of my life, could not process what I was going through at that time.
Well, when we're going to take a commercial break, because I really want you to take us on this journey of finding out that your dad was passing, and how that traumatically changed everything in your life, but also changed everything for the better in your life. So it's like is it a dichotomy? I don't know what it is, but it's like it's the best thing, it's the worst thing, and you don't really know how this is going to all play out. But when we come back from this commercial break, I would like for you to really take us on that journey, if you don't mind. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, everybody, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after our episode sponsor, Hunter Everidge Law Firm.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everidge, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
With us, she's already shared tips with us on just finding inner peace and how to deal with some of the transitions in life. So Bobbie, right before the break, we were talking about your dad, and I want to put a picture up, if you don't mind. Am I able to share this? I have your permission to share this?
Yeah, you can share it.
Okay. Yeah. This is your dad, and this is a very vivid image that many times people would never share.
Right.
But I know that this is something that I've seen on your social media, different places that's important to you, and you live by this.
Yeah.
Why this image? And take us on your journey.
Well, that, a lot of people want to keep a beautiful picture of their passed on family member. And yeah, I have those too of my dad. But that one right there keeps me in touch with life and to understand that we are a human vessel. This human vessel that we need to take care of, we should be grateful for every single day of our life and cherish it. Yes, this vessel dies off. I do not believe our inner being dies. I do not believe my father died. I believe my father moved on. He transformed, he evolved. But his heart is with me. It stayed with me. It changed my life. I went from being a very different person before he died to completely different to who I am today. I mean, I was always a great kid. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I was brought up in a private school.
Dad's like, go ahead and tell him, baby, you were a good kid. Now you were good. I'm up here celebrating.
I mean, I was your rebel. I mean, of course, in high school, I was skipping out of class. I was doing what kids do.
I did that one time and I got caught. I was like, oh my gosh. Of course I would do this one time.
I got busted, and I got busted in 9th grade. And that is when my dad took me out of a public school and put me into a private school. My parents were like, that's it. She's going to a private school. So I did. I got put into a private school. I've had a very good Christian private upbringing, and it was great. But what happened after my father died, it really scared me. I've always lived like everybody else. We all have our 5 senses. We can smell, we can hear, we can touch, we can taste. But when my father died, my senses became heightened.
And in what way?
I could feel stronger, which is where the healing comes in. I was being diagnosed with what they were calling peripheral neuropathy.
Okay.
And I was in University of Michigan. So I was in some big hospitals. We couldn't figure out what was happening with my body. It was physically changing, number one. I was put on medicine. I was put on hand creams. And I traveled for full time with my job for another show. So I had to get on an airplane, go to work, and I'm like, what's happening to me? I'm 40 years old in life, and my hands are on fire. I'm sick from taking medicine.
Right.
Just doing everything I could to find what was happening with my body. A woman, never seen her a day in my life. She looked like she belonged in a Kiss Rock band. Apparently, she was at the show working in another booth for a radio station.
Wow.
Yes, walked all the way over to my booth and looked at me and said, excuse me, while I was right next to, my coworkers, we're all in our suits talking to customers. And she says, sweetheart, you're not sick. Middle of
like wrong conference. Wait. We're at a job conference right now.
Right. She goes, your hands. And I didn't even know what to say because the day before I was in a hospital with my hands. And
your coworkers, let's be clear for a moment, your coworkers had no idea this was happening, right?
They knew about my hands and they knew I didn't feel good. They knew I was going through that at home.
Okay.
Well, that stranger didn't.
The stranger just walked up out of nowhere from the next booth and she's like, you're not sick.
Yes. And that's when she actually was talking to me about you're feeling energy in your hands. You actually can work with healing and you're going to do what's called Reiki. And I was like, what? This is something I've never heard of in my life. I don't know what I mean, come on. We're talking about the girl who came up in a private school.
Right.
This is not anything I'm ever aware of. So I thought, man, I've tried every kind of Western medicine there is to fix my hands. Okay, we're going to give this approach a try, right? I go home, I start looking the word up. I'm going to learn this word. And I was very uncomfortable with it because it wasn't something I was used to. So I looked
being from a Christian household that you were your upbringing. Okay.
My upbringing. I was very afraid of it, actually.
Well, and in the studio audience, before she continues, please put your thoughts too, because some of you may have some thoughts that maybe you have some reservation and concerns. This show is about how people are balancing all different aspects of their lives. And so go ahead.
So I found a woman that I felt very comfortable. Her name's Sherry, Godman, Loomley, and I love her. And I went to her and I sat down with her for the day. And she opened me up a little bit to the thought of it's okay. She pulled out, all these books that had Bible teachings. And I'm thinking, okay, she's whipping out a Bible on me. This is okay with me.
She's speaking your language.
I'm all right with this. By the time I had finished that, weekend with being with her and her helping me, my hands no longer hurt. I was done. Now I was like, that's it. I came off the medicine. I never put the cream on my hands again. And I thought, I'm going to take this in. I'm going to absorb this. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to meditate about this. I'm going to learn this. And then I started to understand that maybe in my mind, there's a grander story. Maybe there's more than any of us ever thought about. And then it took me back to where I learned that I'm going to look at the Bible in a college educated way, maybe as opposed to maybe my little kid way when I first learned it.
Right.
It took it to a different level. And I started pulling out words from the Bible that I never pulled out before. You can do what I can do. And, the things that Jesus came here to teach us. And I thought, maybe there is more to all of this. Then it took me to a deeper thought. Then I wanted to know everything. And then I went on to this thought where I'm going to study Christianity the fullest. I'm going to study Hindu. I'm going to study Buddhism. I wanted to study everything.
You really wanted to get a deep dive on every aspect of everything that was out there.
I wanted to know what made everybody tick. What do you think in this country? What do you think in this country? Because we're all one.
Right.
We're all humans having a spiritual experience. Why do we all believe differently? Why are we all disconnected from one another? And how can we connect with one another and come to one heart space feeling with this whole planet? Not my God's right, yours is right, my God's wrong. I want all of us to understand that we're all a spiritual being living a human experience.
Well, my whole thought is, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together in unity. And it doesn't mean that because you don't have the same belief that I have, that I should not show love to you and take time to just connect with you and provide whatever love I'm saying my God is representing to you. It shouldn't be that, well, you don't believe what I believe, so good riddance type of thing. I don't personally believe that. I believe that God allows all of our paths to connect for a reason. And we may not even know what the reason is. We don't even know what the other person is dealing with as to why they've been assigned to us for some kind of way. I was at Chick-fil-A earlier, Bobbie, and the lady, when you pull up at Chick-fil-A, you're supposed to say your name before it's like a certain structure. Hi, can you tell me your name for your order? Right? Well, I have a daughter that works at Chick-fil-A, so I know the whole routine. But when I pulled up, this lady, this young lady, actually, like maybe in her 20s, she was like, "Hi, Miss Kim." I was like, "Oh my gosh, the lady knows my name." And so you don't know who you're impacting, even though you think you're just doing your daily routine.
Yes.
I'm just going about my life, doing what I'm doing. And she's like, "Hi, Miss Kim." And I'm like, but I knew her name too. Isn't that funny? So I was able to say her name back. And I just say that's just a connection that people.
It's a human connection. And we just don't want to lose it. When we can connect with one another, we can help each other grow. We can help each other evolve. I think we all cross each other's paths in life for one reason or another. Absolutely. Every single one of us.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we definitely want to hear more about this gallbladder. What happened when it started kind of going haywire on you? Tell us.
That thing was just mean. I had issues for off and on for about 5 or so years. Nothing big. I may just eat a wrong cheeseburger here and there, and you don't want that to happen.
No.
They're not fun when the gallbladder acts up. But it was never nothing that was did I want to deal with it or fix it? You know, you could see a doctor here or there, and they were like, it's no big deal.
Okay.
You can just eat, keep away from certain foods. Your gallbladder is going to be fine.
Interesting.
You deal with that. So maybe once or twice a year it would act up.
Okay.
Always when I was at work. So that was never.
That's when it stood out the most. It's like, can you do this on the weekend?
Right? It's never going to happen that way. It's right when you need to be somewhere that gallbladder is going to go.
Of course.
But when my dad died, I became very quiet, laid back, just for a little bit, just trying to process what was going on. The blessing, I was home for a month. That was a month that I was off of work. Like, interesting. Okay, it works that way. But the gallbladder, it got ugly. It was not going to work. Basically, if I ate, it was coming up. Just wasn't going to be my friend. My stomach hurt. I was going in for test after test after test. Finally, even they just said, we're not sure. It's 50-50. If we take it out, you might be okay. It might be the problem. It might not be. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with it. Let's just get it out. I mean, do I really need it? So we took it out and it worked. But that was probably a month after this going on of my father's death. So that's when everything was working its way towards getting worse and worse and worse and worse each day.
Well, I see somebody coming in backstage. Mackenzie keeps popping in. Let me see if I need to pop her in. Hold on one second. And anybody else that may want to come on screen, let me put this in the actual comment section for you, because we do have guests that will appear. Mackenzie, are you coming on stage to ask a question of our guests today? Because I see you keep popping in, and I want to make sure I give you the floor for a second. And again, anyone else that wants to pop on to the broadcast, use this link, copy and paste it. And while we have this expert here with us today, she'll be happy to possibly answer some of your questions as well. We do have guests that periodically come in and do that. So let me pull Mackenzie in, because she's popped in twice. Mackenzie, how are you? How can I help you? Do you have any questions or anything, Mackenzie, for Bobbie Kowalski?
She
oh no, she's good. Okay. So she's back here. She's back there working backstage then. All right. So listen, when she put something in the private comments over here, let me make sure she's like, no, laugh out loud. I'm just here. So she's helping backstage today. Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you. You know what? Also, Bobbie, speaking of which, whenever my son passed away and transitioned from this earth, what I realized is that my menstrual cycle stopped for a long period of time. So when you talk about from a physical perspective, it was really mirroring what I was dealing with.
That's exactly right.
So that's another example, probably.
It is. And, when you're dealing with an energy worker, there's 7 main chakras that go up the body.
Okay.
And my easiest way to explain this is from about your hips up to here. Think of a Christmas tree. Okay. With the bottom of a Christmas tree is a base, and you plug in all your Christmas lights to the base, right?
Yes.
And then as you're going up the tree, you plug in your next set of strings that you wrap around.
Yes.
So let's say you have 7 sets of strings that are going around, but one of those sets of strings, something's wrong in that set of strings, right? You've got to adjust that. Otherwise, really, you're stopping that flow of what you're looking for flowing all the way through. Okay, because your lights are going to go out till you adjust it and fix the next. We are an electrical being. We do have a flow inside of us that is going. So if one of your plugs, I call them chakras, but let's make it easy. Let's call them plugs. Right. If one of your plugs is not up to where it needs to be, let's plug you back into that essence of life, your source, your God, and let's go to him. Let's get your prayer on. Let's get your focus, your intention, and the practitioner will help. I'm a jumper cable. I'm gonna jump your battery. Your car dies, your battery in your car. What do? You get jumper cables, right? You hook it up to another car and you jump that battery and you bring it back to life, right? So there's a connector in between, another person who's gonna be your jumper cable to boost your battery so that maybe I can get you to back up a little bit, and then slowly you're gonna start to, bring yourself back up. But sometimes you need a jump in life. We all do.
Yeah. And that, to me, we need support and we need encouragement in life. So it's like it sounds like you're saying is that level of support is coming from the gifting that God gave you to use to help bring things back in balance for the person.
Yes.
Is what I think I'm hearing. This is good. Okay. Somebody actually said, Jeannie says, OMG, this happened for a reason. I'm about to start grief counseling for losing my husband 11 years ago. I never dealt with it. Oh, wow. Great comment, Jeannie. First of all, you have our deepest condolences, and it doesn't matter how long it's been. We know if you've had a loved one transition from this earth, condolences are always appropriate because it's just a long lasting situation that you really never want to just get over, if that makes sense. So people, oh, you'll get over it, girl. Bye. I don't want you to say that to me at all. So can you address this?
I don't know that you get over it.
No.
I think you balance it, because you have to have the sorrow to have joy in life. You just have to be able to get it to the point where it's okay, because you can't have light without dark either. There has to be a balance in between. We're always going to feel that pain. It's always going to be there. But if you can take that pain to a place of a love and a memory, that's what you need to do. We need to get it to a place where you can change it and say, God gave me that person for a reason. That person was in my life. That person brought so much to my life. I mean, my father's death. I mean, how can a child say my father's death was a gift? I feel like I have learned more from my father's death. Not more from it. I've learned as much from his death as when he was alive. He has never left my side. I can't see him. I feel him. So there comes to be a point in life when you feel. Everything's not that tangible. I see you. You can feel it too. There's a feeling that goes with it. No, Jackie. Hi.
Jackie said, Bobbie, you look so beautiful. She does. She looks radiant over there. And I also see you, Vanita. You said good morning.
Good morning.
And we are so happy to have you in the virtual studio audience as well. Definitely want to take a moment to thank our episode sponsor, attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And if you're dealing with disability or you're dealing with wrongful death of a loved one, and you're in the Richmond, Virginia, the Alabama area, or the Carolinas, then make sure you give them a call at 704-457-5000 and let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. I also saw Lady Justine Hilliard in the audience, and I had the pleasure of speaking at their Change the World Church yesterday. And so thank you so much for having me, and what a beautiful experience. We talked about different types of soil, and this is some good ground. These people are good ground, good soil for God to work with over there. So glad to have you. And let's see, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Bobbie, and I would like to kind of talk about the death doula and the tune forking, because these are all different practices.
Yeah.
And you're like an expert in all of them. So talk to us about that when we come right back right after this commercial break. We'll be right back, everyone.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
Bobbie Kowalski, and I feel better just talking to you overall. You know how somebody just brings joy into the situation? That's what I feel. I see you over there with your legs crossed. I'm like, man, I'm sitting in the wrong chair.
Oh no, I get down on the floor with my pillows, and that's how I like it.
Oh, that's what I might need. I need to do some more stuff differently. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, my red chair, I do have it like this.
Yeah, there you go.
I can lay back. So I do have that going. But it's just a pleasure to speak with you already today. Dr. Jody Bear is one of our episode sponsors and with Confidence Tones. So make sure you all reach out to her to learn more about Confidence Tones. That's going to be some great, helpful tools that's available to you. Dr. Jody Bear, you can go to drjod.com/confidence-tones. drjod.com/confidence-tones. All right. So talk to us about Death Doula. It's just hearing that was like, but it's really.
Before I do, because you were just talking about confidence tones and just played that commercial with Dr. Jody, Tuning Forks is based off sound.
Okay, that's what I was reading. Okay.
I'm like, oh, you played the commercial at the I'm like, wow. So I work off what's called a harmonic spectrum. So if you go in for acupuncture, do you know what acupuncture is? And how they put the little needles in you and they hook you up for, do you not know acupuncture?
Oh yeah, I know acupuncture.
Okay, you do. Okay, so think of it as the same thing, but without puncturing your skin. So if you're going on to the skin, like you would, instead of taking a little needle and inserting it, you would click and you would put it on whatever area you were using it, and the vibration that person can feel going through the body.
Let's put that up. Let's put that up larger so people can see that device. I'm going to put you over here. Oh, I put myself. Hold on. It's like, hello. Give me a second. I'm going to put you over.
This is what it looks like. This is like an on-body tuning fork. Okay. So this one, like I said, you click it and you can actually, well, I wish you could probably hear it over there, but the only reason you hear sound is because there's fluid in your ear. That fluid in your ear is what allows you to hear. But everything is based off of vibration. So these are weighted. These ends are weighted. And you put them on the areas of pain. If you're trying to bring down inflammation in joints, things like that, that vibration's getting in there and working at it. So this is the style you would use on a person's body, where they are weighted and the vibration goes into the body.
I love it.
Let's say I'm working in their auric field, their energetic body that's above them, like when somebody does Reiki, right? You have the same concept with your forks as you would have with your 7, as I called them, plugs for you, but they're chakras. And each chakra has a color and everybody knows them in a different frequency. So like your base, red, and I keep a little red tip on the end of it. And as you're working your way up a body, see if you can even hear it. So probably tough to hear, but as you're working, hear it? Okay. Or if you were doing it differently, louder, there are tones to these. And you're working with the vibration above the body, just trying to get the area of that body back into its perfect symphony. So your whole body is basically a musical symphony. You've got organs in your musical symphony. You can look at your body, compare it to music, because we are word. So you work your whole way up a body, and in a harmonic spectrum, you've got each one of the colors for each level as you work up the body. And so
you're putting it where on the body?
So let's say you're laying on my table and you're flat on your back and you're nice and restful. You won't even feel these on the body. You're going to feel it above it. So remember how I said when I'm working with Reiki, my hands get very warm, like a curling iron, and you can feel it? These are a different feeling because they're about yay high above you, or You can put them by the ears. Some people don't like that just because it may bring a little bit more of a vibration towards your ears because you can feel it. It's a tingling feeling as it's going in there. Do you know what a sound bowl is? When people, I have one actually, like a sound bowl.
Yeah.
A lot of people will use these above the body. And you can feel the vibration off of these, and you can have a person laying underneath these, or you can go to what's called a sound bath in a yoga studio. And somebody will play different sets of crystal bowls, and you can hear them being played all through the yoga studio. This is all very healing on your body. This is all helping your body become aligned. And a lot of people like to try that holistic approach to getting your mind peaceful and your body calm before just running to a doctor. Like, let's try to bring down your stress level. Because when you go to the doctors, you've already got the problem.
Okay.
So I say Western medicine fixes the problem.
I love this understanding, because the only way we can walk into the knowledge of the truth is to learn some of the truth, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so I know I can only speak for Kim, everybody. I am very closed-minded when it comes I really am. I am so
me sitting here. Love it. And I'm sitting here.
I'm very closed-minded when it comes to certain things that I'm not familiar with or not sure of what does that mean for my spirituality. And so that's all that matters to me, is that I just don't want to be caught up in anything that I'm later going to be like, oh my God, why did I do that? I don't expose myself to something that I need to be involved in.
Yes.
But what you're saying is something that sounds so soothing and necessary. And I do get spa treatments all the time, and I see Reiki as an option. But I was like,
it's the same thing. It's just dealing with more of your energetic body out here, which when you do a session, you're going to learn you can feel it, as opposed to the massage therapist who's rubbing. So you're healthy. It's another healthy form of self-care.
Interesting.
And taking care of you. You go to the yoga studio to get a sound bath. You lay on the floor. As they're playing the sound, your body will want to rest. Yeah. Some people snore and you're like, oh God, no, make him stop.
That's what made me laugh right when you said what you said, and I'm getting ready to pull you two in. I see you, El Scaronito, and I see you, Steve, and I'll pull you all in and let you ask your questions next. And anybody else that wants to come into the studio audience while we have our specialist here today talking to us just about finding inner peace and being able to be transformative in our lives, definitely feel free. I see you, Cynthia Lennox, who hosts the Cynthia Lennox Show. She joined in and shared a comment as well. So make sure you check her show out, the Cynthia Lennox Show. And then I see a comment from Mother Julia Harper. Mother Julia Harper is in her 80s, and she has been living with a heart that's been placed in her body for over 20 years of a 16-year-old. So wonderful. Well, God has blessed her to be here on social media. You never get over it, she said. You learn how to live with it. But I buried my oldest son 9 years ago, and it is still hurt. It still hurts. Yeah. But I know he is with the Lord. So I praise God for that.
That's right.
Absolutely. Okay.
It is an instrument. Tuning forks. I mean, have you ever been even to an ear doctor? They test hearing with tuning forks as well.
That's right.
So it is an instrument. And the set I play from is called the harmonic spectrum.
Right.
So yes, they definitely are instruments, just like sound bowls. They all are meant to play sound. I have rain sticks. I have all kinds of instruments, because believe it or not, you could just be having somebody play your rain stick. Have you ever heard a rain stick where you turn it upside down and it sounds like it's raining or it's not raining?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. All of these are peace and calming instruments that are used in bringing a body back to a place of peace. The goal is to get that person to relax and to calm. Just like you go in for a massage, you want to come out when you're done and you want to feel peaceful. Because if you don't, this is headed towards your physical body.
That's right. And Bobbie, I noticed that people, at least I've had this happen when I've had like some type of traumatic experienced, whether it's been a car accident or whatever the case may
Sure.
be, that I've noticed that they use some of those type of instruments in
Yes.
the therapy, but I
Yes.
didn't know that this is what it was called. So
Yes. A lot of sound healing. So people will call it their sound healing, there's energy healing. And even within all of those brackets, there's all different types of people who do different things.
right.
Like there's the people who do the sound bowls.
Yeah.
I chose the tuning forks for some reason because it appealed to me, because I was trying to specifically learn about the human body and vibration. Or
Right.
somebody else may have wanted to record the sounds and wanted to play in a group in a yoga class. And a lot of times you'll find that those people also teach yoga. So
Yeah.
yoga is actually very healing. I mean, there's so many different things that are so healing for your body. It's self-care.
Absolutely.
So I think the best term I ever heard when I was learning was dis-ease. Over time, if you don't take care of it, turns to dis-ease.
Disease. So dis-ease turns to disease if you don't
Exactly.
take care of it over time. And when I was laughing when you were talking about yoga, I remember going to, I think it was like a Pilates. It was some kind of class I went
Yeah.
to. And first of all, I knew I was already out of place. Everyone they had their mats. They were very professional. They had on certain type of attire, yoga pants, and
Right.
you could tell they were trained, right? Well, I come in there, I have on shorts, I have on a striped shirt, and I'm comfortable. But when they said to find the center of your earth, Bobbie, I was like, what in the world is that person doing? They were snoring so loud, like it was overtaking the classroom. And I was like, what?
Yes. Yes.
It's not for you to go home if you're going to sleep at that level. But
Yeah.
come to find out, guess who the person was? It was me.
You were the one sleeping?
I was the one snoring and I didn't realize it.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yes, but that tells you how tired you were and how much rest you needed. And sometimes that's what we need as a human, is rest and time and space, just to get away from everything that's in our exterior and just go. Even if you want to take a little coloring book, the adult coloring books people use nowadays. I have a craft I don't barely want to admit, but I'm going to admit it here. I do what little kids do. I diamond dot. I do the adult one. If you've ever. Oh yeah, some of them can be really difficult, but my mind goes to a place of quiet. I listen to the radio. If there's chattering going on in my mind and I want to get it out, I'll just do my little thing and listen to the radio. So there's always a way to take that exterior stress out of your life, because you don't want that on your body. You want to keep yourself peaceful. If it's soft music, whatever kind of music you're into, enjoy it. Do a craft. Get a massage. Reiki is wonderful. There's so much just to get you to say, okay, I'm stepping back and I'm taking time for me, which is what people forget to do. And that's where our bodies take the toll.
Yes. Wow. Listen, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, I do want to hear about that deaf doula. And then I also want to hear about some other things that you have on the horizon.
Sure.
And everyone, I hope that you're enjoying today's episode. We're having a great experience with Bobbie, and we'll be right back right after this.
Oh, wow. The long wait is over. It's finally here. Welcome to the launch of my new book, Harnessing Your Thoughts, Take the Reins, Control Your Life, and Win. Now available on Amazon. Help me meet my goal of becoming a #1 best-selling author on Amazon by purchasing my ebook for only $3.99. This is a one-day opportunity, so please click on the link on the description box and purchase it now. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you on the other side as you harness your thoughts, take the reins, control your life, and be the winner that you were designed to be. Thank you.
Hey. There you go. I hear you.
I was like, wait a minute, I'm muted. I think the guy got me all thrown off, right? But at least that's what he thinks. But it's all good. All right, so let's see. We're going to talk to you about death doula. What is that? And tell us more about it.
Death doula can come in so many different forms.
Okay.
So when my father died, I just felt my gift was to give back. And the hardest things that people face in their life is death of a family member. So this is where I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to sign up for hospice, and I'm going to help get families through a death. So as a hospice volunteer and spending about 20 or so hours a week in hospice care centers and in people's homes, I learned it's essentially the same thing as a death doula. So I decided I'm going to go take a course in getting certified as a death doula as well. But you'll find a lot of it's neck and neck. What you need is that person who cares. There's different types of doulas. Some may specialize in helping families plan what kind of funerals they want. Do you want a green funeral?
Okay.
Believe it or not, you can shoot DNA into space. You can take a human and make them into a little diamond. You can help them make the perfect funeral. Nowadays, they call it celebration of lives. So there's different things in that aspect. My preference is I like what they call sitting vigil.
What does that mean? A sitting vigil? Somebody type that in the comments section. A sitting vigil. Okay, talk to us.
When you're sitting vigil, you're with somebody in their final stages of death. I will spend all that time up until that anyways.
Okay.
That way the family can get out. They can go somewhere. They can do stuff. Because when somebody's leaving this planet, you don't know when. It's not our time. It's theirs.
Right.
So you meet these families where they're at. You meet them at what their needs are. You show up and you're there. They want to go to lunch. They want to get out of the house. You're there. When you're in what we call like a final stage of death, when they pretty much know when you're going to be up until your last 48-ish hours, you're there with them and you're helping. Even if it's holding space, even if you're just sitting there holding their hands, even if you're just saying a prayer for that family, you're doing what needs to be done in the moment. Up until then, a death doula may offer things while that family member's coherent.
Okay.
Can I write a card? Can I make cards for the grandchildren? And on their 18th birthday, we're going to save it and give it to them. On their wedding day, we're going to give this to them. So they're giving acts that can impact the family later.
Wow.
That couldn't have been done later at that time, because that person can sit there and say, you know, we know you're going, let me write. Let's do this. And that person on that deathbed can share what they want to share while you're the one writing and giving that to the family later.
Right.
So you're showing up in so many different ways, shapes, and form. But I think being able to be there for the family and relieve them and sit with them and get them through the dying process and just be that person. You have birth doulas who bring children into the world, and you have death doulas that help the spirit go out just like they come in. And I choose the going out because that's when families need you the most. It's exciting when a baby's coming into life and you've got a birth doula helping the doctors bring them in and being there for that. And it's heartbreaking for a lot of family members to have to say goodbye. So I feel like the job is just as much for the family as it is for the person on the deathbed. It's a place of love, and that's what it comes from.
Wow. I think for me, I consider it a gift, but I don't know why God allowed me to have this gift. But at my grandmother's, she was in her 90s when she passed away, and I was able to be there at her bedside when she transitioned, with singing and family loving on her and different things. And then when my dad transitioned, I was able to be there for him during, literally right there during the last moments of his breath here on this earth. And we joked, and he said some funny stuff that was just, well, one silly thing that he said, which was so silly. And I was like, I don't think you have time to be worried about this right now. But somebody in the place had purchased this hair, and it was like braided hair that was already pre-braided, and for African Americans, not all African Americans, because I don't have hair on extra right now. But I was like, what? That is super cute. Those braids are gorgeous. Those extensions, and they're already in there. And all I have to do is put it like on top of my hair, and I have the braided look for the day. And he was like, Kim, come here. And I was like, he could barely even, he was whispering. And I was like, yes, sir. He was like, don't buy no hair. I was like, what? I was like, you don't have time for this, Dad. You don't have time. So it was a silly, comical moment. But then on a serious note, I had come from a divorced family. My mom and dad had divorced, and it was really when I was my younger years. And so all of my life, I had been striving to let my dad know, hey, you have a good daughter. I love you. I want to be here and let you know that even though the divorce or whatever, I'm still your child and I love you. And I used to go to a bar, a local bar, and sit beside him and share motivational tips at a teenage. I was a teenager, and I would get off the bus and I would go to the bar because I knew that's where he was. Ultimately, fast forward, he was actually life flighted to Florida, and his life took a completely turn for the better. He became a bishop. It was like a huge transformation in his life, and he shares with people that part of his transformation is my motivation that I share with him in the bar. So I think it was God's gift, Bobbie, for me to have that moment with my dad, which could have never been made possible. I was not, how could I be the one in the room with my dad when he was passing away? And he came again, Kim, come here. I said, yes, sir. He said, you'll always be my daughter.
Mm-hmm. And I love that. And I believe, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, they will wait for whoever they want to wait for to say goodbye to.
Yeah.
It is everything's on their time. You meet them where they're at. A lot of times there's the gift, I call it a gift of, and that last time, that last few breaths, they'll wake up and they'll say something that somebody needs to hear. It's a gift. It's a gift. And sometimes to be able to be sitting there while that family member is receiving that gift, that's a gift of love.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most touching things you could ever put your foot on. And I always say it's holy ground. Right. So if you're in the middle of a divorce and there's people fighting in the rooms, that's when I'm going to be the one to say, guys, the last sense to go on a human is their hearing. They may not be able to communicate with you right now, but they can hear everything going on. Mm-hmm. And let's not have the last minutes be this way. Let's have it be peaceful. Let's light some candles. Let's play some pretty music. Let's share memories. Let's show love. And let that person leave this planet with that feeling of love that we all, knowing we're all okay. That's right. Because essentially that's what that person wants. They want to be told it's okay to go home. They want to be told everything's okay, but they also want to know that you're okay.
Yes.
So when you talk about a death doula, it's kind of a guide. Somebody who's been through it enough to say, has everybody come? Like if a person's not passing as quickly as maybe they should be, and the whole family's like, I don't get it. What's happening? Well, did Brother Steve come? Did Uncle Bill come? His grandma? Like, who's not been here that maybe they want to say goodbye to?
And you get to know that based on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you start feeling out the room. It's almost like you can understand what's happening because you're not a part of the environment. You're that person that stepped back from it. So your mind is not dealing with all that emotional chaos that they're in. Right. So then you can sit back and reason and think, what's missing in the picture? And let's put this puzzle together so that we can help this family.
Wow.
And really, that's essentially what somebody does. And I choose it from the heart. That's something that that's what I like to do.
And as much peace and joy and happiness and love that you're bringing, there is still so much horrible thoughts in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, as we can see, you know, just people don't have your best interest at heart, or
go back and get El Scaranito. we'll talk to him about that one.
Oh, right. Yeah. So how do you advise people to accept the fact that death is going to happen? You know,
I think that's what life is all about. We spend our whole entire life letting go. Mm-hmm. I mean, we lose a job, we lose a spouse, we lose things our whole entire life. Yeah. And when you get to the deathbed, if you haven't been able to let go of everything your whole life,
yes,
how are you going to deal with it in your final moments? Isn't that the grace that we're walking in every day? Yes. Is we're learning how to let go. And so then at the very end, it's almost like that's when we've lived our whole life, you start off as that, oh, what do you call that little guy who goes into the cocoon and he starts shedding away until he gets his wings and he becomes a butterfly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
isn't that what we're doing? We're peeling our onion
It's
apart.
crystallysis. You go through the
Yeah.
process of crystallysis because we're in
Yeah.
there, we're worming and squirming in its tight space. But at the end of the day, it was worth the fight because then they were
You let
able
go.
to
And
metamorph, is what it's called. Metamorphosis. Yeah.
And that sometimes is our final healing. Sometimes that is your wholeness. Sometimes that's what it took to really, become whole.
Yes,
Yeah.
great analogy. And Jeannie, I saw you said a sitting vigil, and then Cynthia Lennox from the Cynthia Lennox show says, understanding that everything has an expiration date, and that's including ourselves. And we will all have a birth date, and we will all have a death date. And
Yes.
so I often say, and I don't even know, I heard it from Les Brown, but that dash that's in the middle is what we're going to be remembered for here on this earth.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I say, if we find the peace in that dash and we find the joy, and we find the balance, we can enhance and we can live the life that we want to live up until we do expire. I mean, really, that's what we all really want in the end.
That's right. Tell us about your book. And I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I want to hear about your book and where people can get it. Energy, the foreign language we all speak, but we don't understand. Tell us in a nutshell what they can expect when they read that.
That book, I didn't want anybody to ever read, ever, because it's so personal. It was the middle of the night. The name came to me, told to do it. I can't explain it. I wrote that book in a 2-week time. In 2 weeks. And the first half of the book shares my experience. And the second half is to guide people and basically understanding energy in its simplest form so that we can stay balanced and at peace.
Good.
It's about your body, and your body's trying to talk to you through your health. And what I will do is I will tell you the points in the body so you can understand where you may be feeling it in your body. Maybe you'll notice emotionally is what you need to fix. So your exterior is going to match your interior. And yes, you get to learn my personal story of laying in a psychiatrist's bed for a year while I was going through all of this. And I had to go through my whole process to understand it all. And I went through learning how to turn that fear into love.
Wow.
And that's basically, and I wrote that book so any single person could understand it. It is not meant for healers. It is not meant for people who already know it. It is meant for people who have no idea what this is.
So just for the basic lay person, as we say in the church, the basic lay person, you're trying to get a good understanding of something. What is this whole energy thing about? And according to Bobbie, she's laying it all out in this book that you can get on Amazon, Energy. And once you get the book, you're going to hear her personal journey and how she came to this revelation, to this conclusion. And then you're going to also learn some of the tips and strategies that she shares as well.
Yes.
Oh, this has been a great interview, Bobbie.
Hey, good.
I hope you enjoyed yourself too.
Yeah, I did. I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Now, how can people stay connected with you?
I would, right now, I would be with me on Facebook, because that is where I like to keep my family and my friends, which I consider, if you friend me, you are my friend. So, and I believe this whole world, we should all be one friend. We should all be one family. There will be a time when I decide I may go that part and take that website stretch, but I'm not there yet. I want to just keep it under one roof. And so far, it's on the Facebook roof.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. And now, speaking of being on the whole website piece, I want to make sure you all know that JeremiahJacobs.com, who's actually one of my sons, he's an episode sponsor as well. I'm not going to play his commercial right now for the sake of time, but I will let you know that he does websites at a very reasonable price. And you can visit JeremiahJacobs.com. And he's 18. He loves working and doing templates and overlays and different things like that. He's also a fisherman. and he is an actor. So we had the opportunity to travel to New York to meet Robert F. Smith, billionaire Robert F. Smith, for Jeremiah's Make-A-Wish trip recently, because he does fight a lung disease, cystic fibrosis. So just make sure you keep him in mind. And then I'll share one final episode sponsor with you, which is my son, Ivan Jacobs. And Ivan is a student at UNC Charlotte. He's also a NASM certified, National Association of Sports Medicine certified, for virtual training and for in-person training. And he too kicks cystic fibrosis in the head. And he was about 300 pounds and went on his own personal journey to transform his health. No surgery. And he looks forward to taking 5 new clients to work with them in their transformational process. He's also writing a book with Dr. Joe D. Bear, and he's going to be one of the contributing authors in an upcoming book that they will be releasing soon. So, all right, that's today's episode, everybody. Let's see. I don't want to miss any comments that came in. I think you all were an amazing audience. We'll pray for the other gentlemen. I don't like to give credence, but you know what? We rebuke Satan, and I rebuke him in the name of Jesus is what I do, okay? But not him, the person. I rebuke anything that's causing a spirit that would come and try to interrupt like that. But anyway, here's the thing. Let's see any final comments that came in. And thank you all for being a wonderful studio audience. And make sure you subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show. If you want to donate, it's been scrolling down at the screen below the entire time. Any closing comment, Bobbie? Let's close out.
I am happy to have been here. This is awesome. You were a joy. I just had a blast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We all got to find that peace. We got to do it.
Oh, yeah. The peace, everything that you said was so helpful and edifying, and it was peaceful. And even just you sitting over there, I could see your black yoga pants. I was like, man, I love this.
My pillows. I'm just me. It's the way I like it.
Thank you for being here today. I feel like my cheeks are burning because I've had just such a pleasant experience with you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. My final, I need to say this too, because we have this happening. Gabe's Heart Foundation, in honor of my son that transitioned from this earth, we're having our 5K walk on September 23rd at 8:00 a.m. You can walk virtually or in person. Any amount that you donate allows you to come and be a part of the walk. But if you like a t-shirt, make sure you go to GabesHeartFoundation.org and go ahead and register, get your t-shirt. If you want to be a sponsor, there's a sponsorship packet there for you as well. GabesHeartFoundation.org. All right, everybody. You can stay backstage if you want, and I'll see you in a minute. And have a great day, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you, and make it a great day.